Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse, and in today's video, I'm going to say the things that nobody wants to say. And there's been a lot of change in our country over the past few years. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened in the news lately. And I'm just going to go ahead and say what's on everybody's mind, but that people are hesitant to say. First things first. Our nation is in a decline. I think that is, at this point, most likely unrescuable. And why is that? At this point, we have so many people who are used to living off of everybody else. Their votes have been bought by the Democratic Party, and we have a nation with at least 2 generations of people who are unaccustomed to using violence to solve problems. In fact, we've been told that using violence to solve problems doesn't work. I'm telling you, throughout the span of human history, there's one thing that always works, and that's violence, okay? And how does this translate into what we're dealing with now? We have a president in office who has not grown up in this nation. You can argue whether or not he was born here, but he most certainly didn't grow up here. He is unfamiliar with the same experience that most of us who are natural-born citizens have enjoyed, of growing up in America, of loving this country, of participating in things that are distinctly American. Nope, our president did not do that. He was being raised by rabid Marxists and living in nations that were predominantly Muslim and going to Muslim schools. Okay, so is it any wonder that at a critical juncture in our nation's history, when we face an Islamic threat, and it is an Islamic threat, and it is a war against Islam, anybody who says otherwise is kidding themselves. He is unwilling to use violence to solve the problem. And this can be for many reasons, partly because I think that he wants the Muslim agenda to succeed. You can do just a wee bit of research, watching him bow in front of Saudi kings, looking at the Muslim ring that he wears on his finger. But make no mistake here, we are in a war with Islam as a dogma, as a system of religion that from infancy teaches its adherents to hate and to spread its tenets through hate, through violence, through the sword. And I'm here to tell you guys, and nobody wants to say it, until we embrace violence as a way to solve this problem, it is going to continue. Okay, we are in the midst of arming the hell out of the different Muslim factions in the Middle East. We are setting ourselves up to butt heads with Russia, and this is not good because we have a president in office who can't find his nads, and then we have Vladimir Putin on the other end of the ocean who very much has his nads and is willing to use them and doesn't care about the backlash from the international community. Why? Because he is unafraid to use violence as a solution. He has taken Crimea. Anybody remember when he took Georgia, when he retook Georgia in the Olympics a while back? Yeah. We have a country, a nation of people, and an executive branch that's unafraid to use violence as a solution against the Muslim threat that we face. One of the other things that needs to be said that people don't want to say is that Islam is the problem, and the adherents of Islam are Muslims. Do we have Muslims here in the United States who are grateful to be away from the oppressive, tyrannical structure that they came from? Yeah. But why aren't they more vocal? I'll tell you why. Because the doctrine, the dogma, the religion of Islam, the system of religion of Islam does not value, does not make way, does not allow for dissent or critical thought. It has been this way since arguably about 150 to 200 years after the religion was accepted and was spread across the world through what? The sword. We are in a war against culture, and you are not going to win. We as a nation are not going to win against Islam through peace and change in hearts and minds. It is not working. I think that is abundantly clear and evidenced through the latest attacks in Paris. Europe is going to become a de facto Muslim country, if by no other means than the birth rate. And the fact that their nations have set themselves up to redistribute wealth, much like ours, but far more so. They've set themselves up to redistribute wealth and to put it in the hands of people who are deserving and take it out of the hands of people like you and me. You know, people who actually work for a living. Okay? We are going to be facing increased threat here in the United States, and I have said this for years, and I don't care about the label of Islamophobe. And let me encourage you guys, don't give a rat's ass if people say, oh, you're an Islamophobe, oh, you're a bigot. What are you going to do to come over here and silence me? You're going to come and try and sew my mouth shut? No, this is the thing with people who have allowed their sensitivities and their myths that they operate on to dominate their political agenda. They use the state as their gun because they're not masculine. These men are not masculine. They don't have the ability to stand and give a manly testimony of what they think and give rational points for it. No, they're going to rely on their feelings, okay? There is no rational reason why we in the West should embrace Islam. Things that people don't want to say. There's no rational reason why we should give quarter or do anything other than raise the black flag against our enemies. Other things that people don't want to say that yours truly, Patriot Nurse, is going to say. The only way you're going to defeat Islam is to defeat their false god. Whoa, she really said that. Yeah, I did. Yeah. Anytime, just watch it. Just watch it. Anytime that you see a Muslim fixing to attack somebody, what do they say? They invoke the name of their false god. The only way that you are going to demoralize and destroy these people is to destroy their god. That is it. And people don't want to own that. Why? Because we've gotten away from our roots here in America. And the loud and vocal minority of atheists and people who absolutely hate God and hate Scripture, they believe that it is their bound duty to convert everybody. It's funny because it's like the loud and vocal and rabid atheists in this country. It's like it's not good enough for them just to, you know, leave people alone. No, they got to convert everybody to like hating God or not believing in God. I'm here to tell you very much, guys, the enemy believes in their God. They are willing to die for it. They are willing to send their children, their wives, their family members to die for their false god. So we can sit here all day long and play patty cake with the atheists who want to debate whether or not there is a God. They don't care. Okay? And then you got to ask yourself, who is their God and why do they believe what they do? Let me put it in a nutshell here. The dogma, the tenets of Islam has a chip on its shoulder because it's quite sad about being really the spawn of the illegitimate offspring of an Egyptian slave girl. And in order for them to recover their shame and to recover their masculinity, their prophet decided that he was going to rewrite some of the oldest scripts on the face of the planet and say that, yeah, it was all wrong, you know, thousands of years after the fact, okay? So this is the type of people that you're dealing with here. You're not going to get them to critically think. The ones that do critically think are a minority. And if you have any knowledge about Sharia law, anybody who questions whether or not their tenets are right or reasonable, violence is the solution here. Again, we're coming back to a few things that people don't want to say. Violence works. Throughout history, there's one thing that always works, and that's violence. And what is violence? Violence is using a tool or an implement to implement and foist upon somebody else my will against their own consent. Okay, so whenever I implement violence, it doesn't have to be with a weapon. It doesn't have to be with something like a gun or a sword or munitions, anything like that. Violence is using force to accomplish my will upon someone who is not consenting. Okay, and that is what Islam thrives upon. All right. So what does that mean for us here in the United States? This is what it means, guys. What it means is that we are going to have to cease to be so offended. And you're also going to have to cease to care when people call you bigots. Am I a bigot because I actually understand these people's culture? And I understand that there is no hope of changing a heart or a mind? Am I a bigot for understanding that they teach and tell their children from the time that they can talk that being a martyr is supreme to living? Things that people don't want to say. We have a president in office who has grown up at the very minimum with strong Muslim sympathies. He was raised by a Muslim stepfather in the absence of his own, who was also a Muslim. We're not going to win this. It was never designed that we should win a war against Islam, even though that's exactly what it is. And until we get that through our heads as an American public, we are going to continue to see a slide and a decay in our values and traditional American culture. Why? Because we refuse to acknowledge the enemy for what he is, and we refuse to use the most effective tools against him. Check out General Pershing. The things that people don't want to say. Guys, political correctness is the noose with which we are hanging ourselves as a nation. And until we get over that, until we, as red-blooded Americans, natural-born citizens of this country, and also naturalized citizens, I can't tell you how many naturalized citizens of this country that I know who personally can't stand what's happening to this country. Until we take up that mantle and say, enough is enough. You're not going to intimidate me through name-calling me. You're not going to intimidate me with the state. Why? Because here in the United States, we still have something called the Second Amendment, the ability to protect and defend ourselves. My ability to protect and defend myself enables me to speak freely and hold my head high and not be bullied by little millennial statists who have nothing else better to do than to walk around telling people how offended they should be. The things that people don't want to say, I just said them. I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did enjoy the video, please subscribe to me, Patriot Nurse, and also like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. Guys, this is going to get real very soon. Be ready for it. Be ready. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off. I'll see you guys later. Bye.